Recommendation for a board position, AB 852. This bill is sponsored by the Assessors Association. Mary Condi from the Sacramento County Assessor's Office is here to answer any questions. And this bill would allow assessors to require a taxpayer to file a business property statement electronically, and would also require the board to adopt and taxpayers to use standard equipment codes when completing the business property statement. The staff recommendation is support.
Do you want to make a statement?
No, I was here just to answer any questions. I had understood that there might be some questions regarding this bill.
Let me ask you quickly, why do you support this bill? Why do you need this bill, and put it that way?
Basically, the annual assessment of the business property is a really cumbersome and labor-intensive job, and with this new standard data reporting, or just e-filing, it's going to minimize so much work for our government office, and especially in times of reductions, it's coming at a good time. And I believe, too, we've talked to different taxpayer groups, and it's going to actually help them, too. It's going to make their job a lot easier. Once they file, it'll all be retained, and they can file annually with minimal effort.
If it makes their job easier, why mandate it? Why not just make it voluntary, like I'm told that 48 counties already have?
48 counties currently have it available, but the taxpayers haven't all joined in filing. So
maybe it isn't in their best interest.
Well, I think maybe more education, too, would help.
I totally agree with that. I'm just concerned about mandates. What's the penalty for failure to e-file under your proposal?
The penalty would be 10%, but also...
If I filed a paper statement but failed to e-file, would I still be subject to a 10% penalty on all my personal property?
If it was required by the assessor, but I do believe that the assessor is trying to just focus on those really large corporations and businesses that are throughout all of the participating counties to make it more efficient for everybody to file that way, such as like the Bank of America's and some of the bigger companies like that.
How does focusing on a large business make it easier for everybody? I'm missing your point.
Well, it would just make it more efficient and cost-effective for the assessors in those counties and the taxpayers.
Oh, for the assessors.
Well, it also is, because we do have them participating, but the mandate would just bring it to their awareness, I believe.
So the mandate wouldn't apply to me as a small farmer?
I believe that not only do we have the $100,000 threshold for the cost of the equipment.
No farmers under $100,000 these days. One tractor does that.
Correct. I understand. But they are looking at that to be reasonable. And there would be waivers, I believe, that I know we're still working with board staff on this and trying to work out the bugs.
Well, we're trying to work on e-filing also, and I think we're doing a much better job on education and outreach for voluntary activity than coming with a club and a mandate. And I really applauded the assessors for the leadership in going e-filing on property statements, and disappointed now that they apparently have given up on education and outreach and just gone to the mandate tool to hit people. If I filed a property statement but failed to e-file and I'm hit with a 10% penalty, it just seems onerous. Very onerous.
I understand, and I do believe that the association is trying to work out some of those the hard-hit areas, such as the small businessman. And
unfortunately, the proposal before us doesn't have any of those things worked out that you're asking us to endorse.
I believe that
currently it's only upon written request of the assessor, so the assessor could select an appropriate group that they would request mandatory e-filing, and then there would be a 1-year delay if there was any issue in
meeting that requirement,
getting geared up to do that.
So the current versions, actually, I guess I thought I didn't believe it. The assessor can pick and choose which of the property owners in the county he or she chooses to club.
Correct, because it would only be upon written request.
There's a bit of an equal protection issue there, in case you haven't looked at it. So Bank of America gets hit, but Union Bank doesn't. Wonderful.
Knowing how, I do know that the assessors throughout all 58 states, counties, we do try to work together and be consistent, and that was kind of the reason for this, was to bring together the counties to be consistent and apply, fair assessments throughout all 58 counties. So I'm certain that they would work with each other to be equitable in their requests to the taxpayers.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not what the bill says.
I understand. I do believe it still needs some amendment work.
Well, we do agree on that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure. Okay, well, with that, is there a motion?
I'll move a recommended support on this bill.
Yeah, I'll second that. And call for the vote.
Ms. Yee?
Aye.
Mr. Leonard?
No?
Ms. Steele?
No.
Dr. Chu?
Aye.
Ms. Mandel?
Aye.
Motion carries.